Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about seeing the videos of the paid request for Ash? Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for back-to-back, known in some places as American Yakuza 2. Now, American Yakuza was a film of Viggo Mortensen, but this is not in any continuity. I guess just that must have done well on VHS or whatever, so and in some markets they use American Yakuza 2, but I think here is more known as Back to Back. But it's directed by a guy named Roger Nygard. I'm sitting there going, why does that name sound familiar? And I'm like, this is the guy that he would go direct Trekkies 1 and 2, the Star Trek fan documentaries, which I'm a fan of both of those. I know the first one's on Blu-ray. For some reason, they didn't put the second one on Blu-ray. I always thought they should have made a Trekkies 3, especially in the climate of today. Would have been a very divided, heated discussion, if being honest, but maybe that's why it didn't happen. But before Trekkies, he did this. Now, I think in 1996, give or take, this premiered on HBO. I didn't have HBO back in the day, but this is what I read up on it. This was a fun movie, I will say. While it does have some flaws, this is entertaining. If you like action films and if you like this cast, especially Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker's the star of the film, great actor, cliffhanger, Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. He was in Slither, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. Always great to see Michael Rooker in there. Replicant with Jean-Claude Van Damme he was in. He plays a very, very angry cop who definitely has a lot of anger issues. I mean, we're first seeing him like driving a truck with this self-help tape. And he's like, I am calm, assholes. Or he's trying to get money out, and there's no money coming out, and his card is taken, so he keeps punching, and he's smashing the ATM. Other people in the film, you have Ryo Ishibashi, which I liked. I think he was in the first American Yakuza as a different character. He was in that film Audition. I think he was in The Grudge. I think he was. You also have Bobcat Goldthwait as this crazed robber. I think he's literally called Psycho. Danielle Harris from Halloween 4 and 5. She plays Michael Rooker's daughter. She was in The Last Boy Scout as Bruce Willis's daughter. You also have some quick appearances by people like Tim Thomerson from Trancers, among other films. Stephen Furst from Animal House and Silent Rage. Leland Orser from Seven. He plays a guy in a wheelchair who's like a beggar. I mean, they don't have a whole lot to do, but it was nice to see them appear even for a little bit. It goes by a pretty fast pace. There's a decent amount of action or some kinetic camera work. Granted, I mean, I do wish the action finale was a bit more spectacular. I wouldn't say they ran out of budget when they got there, but it shows a little bit of the lack of budget. I'll get to that. But I do overall like the film. I think if you like Michael Rooker, you like these kind of B-movie action films, it's definitely worth a look. The setup is that Ryo Ishibashi and his buddy, they're two Yakuza, they come to LA to do this, either this deal or this meeting or something more to it. Meanwhile, Michael Rooker, he is trying to get to his place is getting taken because he can't afford it. His ATM card's been taken, and he's getting more and more pissed off. The way these two meet is because while the two Yakuza is having fun trying to be in this bar, trying to figure out what to do next for what they're they've been sent out there to do. Michael Rooker's trying to get to his car, and he realizes there's something going on. Hey, can you move your car, buddy? Hey, buddy, can you move your car? And the guy's being a dick. He's like, okay. He pulls the guy out. The guy has a gun. And unbeknownst to Michael Rooker, this is the getaway driver of these robbers that come out. Which Rooker has to get his gun out, and after trapping the guy with the window and just smacking the hell out of him, he has to shoot these guys. Blood squibs. Because lo and behold, we can't do that nowadays, but back then, even low-budget films could do blood squibs. You know, squibs that make it seem like you've been shot, because there's some people that don't know what a squib is. And so one thing leads to another. Michael Rooker shoots some of the bad guys, gets out of the way of the gunfire. Bobcat Goldthwait is the head robber, steals the car, drives away. Michael Rooker gets arrested, even though he was a former cop. You know, he was firing his gun, among others, so he gets arrested. Bobcat is in this chase, and it's fun to see Bobcat Goldthwait in a very different role. Right, he still has a little bit of his voice from Police Academy 3 in them, but him playing a psycho robber, it's an interesting casting choice. If you read this, you're too close. And he's shooting at the cops and crashes into this restaurant. And, like, it goes at a pretty quick pace. I'm like, man, this movie's really flying through. And there's some bits that made me laugh. There's the hostage negotiator, what do you want? And literally on the phone, what do you want? And Bobcat goes, your mom's greasy ass. What the fuck? What the hell? But it's the same restaurant that the Yakuza are in. Because they've gone from the club, they're doing all this stuff down in this restaurant. Bobcat wants this suitcase they have. Briefcase, I should say. This briefcase. But he was too nosy. Because Ryo Ishibashi, he's able to tip the gun out, grab him, and cut Bobcat's hand off. Knock him out. He had a bomb that if he let go, so he's able to grab the disembodied hand with the bomb attached. The cops are around, so the two Yakuza separate. And again, when I talk about the kinetic work of the camera, at least in this, the camera like shoots right towards Ryo Ishibashi when he's outside, then it switches right towards Bobcat. Bobcat sees his hand in Ryo's hand. He lets it go. Goes right towards Bobcat. Explosion. Great. I mean, if you watch the trailer gives a lot of this away, to be fair, but I'm giving it away too, but like I say, it does have a fun energy to it. And so Ryo Ishibashi gets arrested because of that. They're both in jail. At the police station, I should say. Danielle Harris is there to bail her dad out. She briefly meets Ishibashi, and he's kind to her. One at least another. The Yakuza guy gets out of jail, beats up a couple cops, takes Michael Rooker and Danielle Harris hostage, goes back to their home, and the movie goes from there. Now the movie does go back and forth between the other Yakuza guy, where he's like been wounded, he's got the briefcase, he's kind of wandering over town. I will admit that's one of the weaker parts of the film, because you really could have cut all that out and it would not have changed anything. In fact, I think it would have helped even more with... Like, the film already has a pretty decent pace. That would have been even better with the pacing. If anything can slow the pacing down, it's those scenes. Because the guy really doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue. He kind of just wanders around being wounded. And it's either, again, Leland Orser as his begged her in a wheelchair, talking the guy's head off. Or he meets Stephen First and Tim Thomerson, who invites him into his van. We'll take you where you need to go. But then that Yakuza finds out these two are working for the mafia, who want the Yakuza guys. But then that Yakuza is able to mess up their plans. The van crashes, kills those two, and then gets away. I should have said spoilers, sorry. I should have said spoilers to be doing. My bad. Spoilers from here on out, I apologize. That's just how I do reviews. So spoilers. And then by the time like some stuff happens with Rooker and Ishibashi, they find the other Yakuza guy, who I guess he's an Elvis fan, so he thinks he sees Elvis. Well, he sees a guy that looks like Elvis, and he smiles. And then when our two find him, he's died, but he's got the briefcase. And I just don't think there was enough there for that whole subplot to be incorporated so much into the movie. Yes, it's cool to see Tim Thomerson and Stephen First, but I mean, what was it needed? No. In fact, I was more interested in the Michael Rooker, Danielle Harris, Ishibashi stuff. That when it kept cutting away, I went, "Can we get back to the main story, please?" And maybe not filming all that stuff would have saved you money to put a little bit more production in the third act. So, granted, might have made the movie a bit shorter, but if it's going on HBO, is that really an issue? Usually that's an issue if it's going to theaters. But if it's on HBO, no. They just, fine, it's over earlier and we'll play more commercials. What's coming on HBO after the film? Pretty much Rooker is able to get the tables turned on Ishibashi. Pretty much just warned that the Mafia is coming for them because the Mafia wants the Yakuza guys. You find out that this cop who was pissy with Michael Rooker, he's a dirty cop working with the mob. You have a decent sequence where the bad guys come in and shoot up Michael Rooker's place, and Rooker and Ishibashi take care of the bad guys. It's pretty decent. Michael Rooker gets this, I forget what kind of gun it is, but like he's shooting through the walls and trying to get the guy. There's this nice bit where Michael Rooker's got a shotgun and there's two guys there. So what he does is he does this, but then he fires, so it shoots one guy, but it bounces and it hits the other guy in the chest, like the back tip of the shotgun. So it fires, but he's like, let's go. So if how do I put it? He fires, but he's able to use the pushback to hit the other guy. I didn't mind it. Whether it's realistic or not, well, I don't know, but it was a fun bit that I don't see too often. And when it hits the guy in the chest, like Michael Rooker side kicks him. I thought that was pretty cool. I would like to have seen a bit more banter between Rooker and Ishibashi when they are a team. Like, it would have been nice to see more of them together. Like, again, cut all that stuff with the subplot and his Yakuza buddy. Have more of, like, maybe they go to 2 or 3 more areas searching. And there's bad guys here or bad guys there. Or they go somewhere and a guy's being racist and Michael Rooker sticks up for this guy. Because no matter what, this guy is at least being somewhat honorable in what's happening. So we can see a little bit more of the bond forged between the two. Get a few bit more action set pieces in there with the two involved. whether it be just as typical as a bar fight or whatever the case may be. But pretty much they talk for a little bit. They find out that the mafia bad guys are going to be in this restaurant. They go in with glasses. I like that Michael Rooker brings a six-pack of beer. There's a reason he does that. They talk for a bit in the spoilers. There's a bit in the beer that has this blinding light, and they pull the guns out and they shoot. Now, granted, it's nothing big or fantastic. It's pretty much shooting, get like 3 guys here, shooting, get like 2 or 3 guys here. Then it's the main mafia guy who's a big guy, and then there's the dirty cop. The big guy gets shot by Ishibashi, but the guy grabs Ishibashi. They both fall into the ground because there's been holes, bullets put into the ground so it falls through. Both of them falls through. Vincent Schiavelli is amongst that scene. He's a character actor. He was in Tomorrow Never Dies. He's the one who kills Terry Hatcher's character. He was in Ghost. He was the subway train ghost, trying to teach Patrick Swayze the ghost trickery, or what you could do and not do as a ghost. That's Vincent Schiavelli. He has a bit supporting role in this. So while that's happening, Michael Rooker is pretty much getting his ass beaten by the dirty cop. He doesn't really get many punches or kicks thrown in. I don't know why that's the case. It's like anytime Michael Rooker gets in a fight, he always gets his ass kicked. He gets his ass kicked most of the time in Cliffhanger, until, gets the shotgun. He gets his ass kicked most of the time in Replicant. Because Van Damme, as the bad guy, beats him up quite a bit. He just being a lot. It's like Michael Rooker can't just be. He's always, maybe it's like one of those things. Like if it's Michael Rooker, he's got to get his ass kicked a lot. I don't know what it is. He's always got to get beaten up so much in a fist fight. Right, I'm not saying it has to be Jason Statham and Steven Seagal and you can't hit me at all, but it's like have him get a few more hits in. And this kind of almost came out of nowhere, and it's one thing I wasn't big on. Like I said, I wish the ending was a bit more of a bigger set piece. Had a bit more of that energy, like when the director earlier had the whole thing with the bomb and the camera zooming towards the Yakuza and towards Bobcat Goldthwait. I wish it had a bit more of that zest in the third act of the film. I wish the set piece was a bit of a bigger scene. I didn't take all that stuff with the subplot of the other Yakuza out and put the money into this. I think that would have been better. Maybe more angles. They spread out and like more pieces of the restaurant, more of a shootout back and forth. That would have been nice to see. Much more satisfying. And then pretty much the Ishibashi has the gun. He's trapped. There's either the guy in front of him or the guy up top. Now, if he throws it up top, he could save Michael Rooker, who's got a daughter, or he could save himself. He makes the choice, throws the gun up. I like the shot when Michael Rooker gets it, turns, you see him like this, and shoots the dirty cop. But the one guy shoots Ishibashi, kills him. So he gave his life to save Michael Rooker, as Danielle Harris's dad. I thought, for how the film was, kind of this comedic, fun type of energy to it, I thought it seemed like a bit, I don't know if I want to say darker, but it's not really the specific ending I expected. I'm not sure it's really what I would have chosen to do. Granted, it does bring a bit to his character to show that honor that he showcased. that he gave his life because of this experience, because of the daughter, all that stuff. That's why, if you're going to go that route, I wish there was a bit more between those two as being friendly with each other. I mean, they have like maybe one or two conversations about Rooker showing the guy a picture of his daughter, but I think you could have done that more to make that a bit more effective at the end. So again, the third act, I kind of wish they had a bit more of a and bigger, more satisfying set piece filled finale. But again, I do like the film. Like I said, I like Michael Rooker. I'm a big fan of him. Him being the lead is a definite plus. It goes by, for the most part, a good pace. I see some familiar faces there. I thought Danielle Harris did a good enough job as the daughter character. Ryo Ishibashi, I thought he was capable. He was fine. Bobcat Goldthwait it was fun to see him in a different type of part. The action scenes, they're more than serviceable. Like I said, I wish the third act was a bit more grandiose. It was fun. I mean, not a incredible gem or anything, but it was fun. Like, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I saw it. Like I say, I think if you like these type of action films and you like Michael Rooker, it's at least worth a watch. So, with that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.